Welcome, students, to Monk Meditation, the show about monks in the world of Warcraft.
6.2.2.2 is out, and we got some major buffs. We monked around in Hellfire Citadel. Multi-Strike's gone, and that means some big changes coming up on Monk Meditation episode 55.
Here's your host, Chai T.
Hey guys, welcome back to Monk Meditation show, all about the best class that just got buffed in the World of Warcraft. Oh man, big buffs coming in 6.2.2. A lot of awesome things going on. We're flying around, and Multi-Strike is gone, so we have a lot of news to get to, and so let's get right to it. Let's check in with tonight's host and how WoW is now in
Storm, Earth,
and fire!
We'll start off with our Mistweaver from Midwinter, Monkio. How you doing, sir?
Well, that's me.
Yes.
I'm doing great, yeah. I'm really enjoying our 2-day farm week. It's really good as opposed to the 7-day progression week.
Yeah, I can
very
imagine.
Happy to be out of that.
Yeah.
And we're just trialing some new healers, so that's always exciting. And otherwise, I'm working on a new alt and just kind of coming down from the Diablo 3 high. That was on for a little bit.
All right, well, I'm glad you're having fun here. So let's go to Air Windwalker from Airy Peak US. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dojo. It's good to be back. Good to be here. Some happiness on the podcast, some
Indeed.
Smiles.
Yes. Cheerful.
Maybe a little bit of sugar. Bit of sugar here. It's going good. If we're working on Archimon for my raid team still. We've been doing a hard mode sometimes. There's only, 5 melee and 3 range because that's who's showing up.
I have heard that Archimon is definitely the lower number of people you have, the much more difficult it is.
Yeah, you got that plus having 3 range.
Yeah.
So WTB range, we could use some. If you're awesome, talk to me. That'd be fun. But yeah, I mean it's WoW now. It's Warlords. Patch is good. Zen Meditation is great. I can use that again. No, not Zen. Zen Flight.
Zen Flight.
Oh,
And-
I forgot about that.
Zen Flight. Yeah.
Blew my mind.
You
Now-
have Happy Cloud again.
Now I can AFK in my garrison on a cloud.
Yes.
So
That's a proper use of flying in
There we
Draenor. Thank you.
there we go. I explored everything already with Aviana's Feather while it was new content.
Yep.
Not to open that up
Yeah.
any more
Yeah.
than I need.
We're fine. Yeah. All right, let's go to LeBlue, part of Rectified, Airy Peak US. Still Grumpy Cat, no video, huh?
I guess I can put this down now. But hey, I heard you needed salt, so I got some salt for your salt while you're sitting in your salt. No, we killed Heroic Feldlord Zakun last week, and then like 2 weeks ago they killed Soccer Thar. So what does that make us? 8 of 13. We're coasting through, trucking, whatever. We've got some wipes on Iskar, so hopefully this coming Saturday we'll get them. As you can see, I have internet again.
Yay.
Not only internet, it's cable. Thus I can do stuff with it, but it's slowly sucking out my life force, as you just noticed.
Right. It's draining you.
So I've been streaming some WoW on Saturday mornings, and some of our Final Fantasy 14 raids. Monkio visited and listened to Callie call us bad and stuff. Not
Hey,
really.
You can't be streaming that because it makes me want to play that game. All right, so you need
Yeah,
to
stop it.
calm that down.
Well, Monkio, what did you learn from Callie in Final Fantasy 14? Something about paladins?
Don't bring the paladins, bring the warriors.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
it's a
thing.
good thing I play a paladin. But otherwise, really all that's going on is we've just been trying to find a mythic guild that raids at insane hours, also known as 2 a.m. Eastern time. Not having much luck, and then add on want to be a tank, and yeah, I'm kind of in trouble there probably, but I'm still looking, still poking, but not much else really going on for myself.
Okay. Well, welcome back to the show. It's been a while. All right.
Yes.
And so for me, it's been kind of a busy weekend while I've been spending a lot of time in there. Rolling Thunder, since last time we updated you on them, we've actually done really well. We've got down 12 of 13 normal. We decided not to really poke at Archimon because we only run 10 to 15 people, so we're trying to get a few item levels above to make it a little bit easier for us. And in Heroics, we went in, and the first night we went in and we got all the way up to Gorefiend in 2 hours. So we just pounded right through there. And this week we got down Gorefiend and Iskar to go 7 of 13 Heroics, so we're right behind Rectified there. So we're pushing really hard. Otherwise, I've been doing all the Darkmoon Faire stuff, so I got all of the racing things done that I hadn't gotten done before. Never again. Oh my god. The first time you get one toll off, you're like, I can do this. And you just click it up and you go.
Nope.
The 5th time, you start to doubt yourself. The 12th time, you just throw your monitor across the room. The 27th time,
Yeah.
you finally just lay down in your own excrement because you finally did it. And it's
That's
done.
why I had a Rage Penguin. That's what Rage Penguin was for. So I didn't start throwing things for a Garrosh progression. That's what you needed, is a Rage Penguin.
Lady Chai was in the room behind me when I was doing it. It's like I would get to 12 tolls, and I would just let out this string of not even expletives. I wasn't swearing. I was just saying random syllables that made no sense in coherence at all together. It was.
Oh, hey, I do that. I like to think I'm speaking Japanese, but I'm really muttering gibberish.
Right. But I'm
Japanese is you can make sense of.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
know
much
this.
all done with all the Darkmoon Faire stuff except for the pit stuff, the PvP stuff, because I don't really PvT.
Oh yeah.
But in Legion, maybe I will, because PvP looks like it's going to be a lot more interesting. But let's see. Also got my Horde Paladin up to 100, and went in to do some time walking. I had no gear, never played Pally Tank, and never dropped below 70% health. So
this week on Paladin Perspective, we're bringing it back.
And I didn't get it. I went in and Mistweaved with my 2 legendary items, all really well geared stats, everything like that, and it was the most painful, boring experience I've ever had in my life. It seemed like all of the tanks were just getting trucked the whole time. So all I was doing is spending heals on them. I wanted to go in a Russian Jadewind and Chi Explosion to just do damage the whole time. And they're like, nope,
Yeah, right.
you're going to heal my ass. And I'm like, okay.
That's because a lot of tanks. I actually came in midway to a group, and they're like, "Please don't be an idiot." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Last one thought he was a god, and he pulled everything. And I'm like, "What do you mean by everything?"
Okay.
It was Halls of Lightning, and he pulled the. He got to that first the walkway, and he pulled the pack, the next pack, the 2 on the walkway, the boss, and his pack. And that pack after it, and as he was going to the last pack, he dropped over dead, called the healer some nasty things apparently, and left.
In my defense, I did actually do that last time Time Walking was out, because I've never done those dungeons when they were current, and I was in TeamSpeak with Jules, and she said, "Oh, it's a gauntlet," so I just didn't know when the gauntlet ended, and I didn't realize it was just the first room, so I ran all the way up to the boss and couldn't understand why I died on all my tunes until I was doing all my DK.
I know what you're talking about.
Mind.
That's not Northern. That's a Hellfire Citadel.
Shattered Halls.
Shattered Halls.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
that one.
Shattered Halls ones, yeah.
That's the thing though, the people who did the dungeons when they were current, they have that respect for how awful they can be, and so they take all right,
take
just
their time.
polymorph
All right,
that,
one pull,
hex
one pull.
those things, and we'll be good.
You can always tell when it's a fresh character because they just go in and just charge. You're like, no, stop. Oh man. So time walking, a little different depending which class you're playing, apparently. All right, Misame, how are things going for you in WoW, sir?
Pretty good. We've been farming Archimon for the past 4 weeks now, so it's officially, I'd count it as on farm if it's died 4 times. That's kind of like how many times I have to kill something before I kind of count it as, all right, we're no longer progressing on this. I can just switch off my brain and the boss will die anyway. But we've been doing that. I've been putting a lot of effort into leveling my ults, not leveling my ults, but gearing my ults and things like that. I'm actually raiding on my hunter at the moment on weekends, which is pretty fun. Definitely not a tank for one, but it's enjoyable. And
Which
aside from
spec
that,
are you playing?
I mostly play marksman
Oh,
because
God.
I don't know. I really enjoy Marksman. A lot of people say they don't, but I actually really
so
enjoy it.
Same.
boring.
It's a lot of fun.
You me,
It's like-
but dude, I love
It's just
Marksman.
big numbers that pop up on
It's
your
like
screen.
I
But
like I like Marksman. I like the theme and the fantasy of it, but it's so boring.
as well as that, I've just been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 because that came out, and I've
Right.
been waiting for that game since my childhood began. So I've been going a little bit hard on that at the moment. It's really, really, really good. Definitely worth picking up.
I've heard.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, it's time to get caught up in the crazy whirlwind of WoW news.
Dizzying haze.
So, for those of you who don't know, 6.2.2.2. How many twos were there?
A couple more.
2.2. That came out. So, as Air said, we can fly again and use our Zen Cloud. Yay! That has already saved me like 3 times. Love it.
Can't believe I forgot.
Yeah. Go glyph that right now.
Unbelievable.
So, buffs. We mentioned these last time, but they have come into effect, and they are very significant. Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm. All of those got, or let's see, Blackout Kick and Rising Sun Kick, 10% more. Tiger Palm, 20% more. Fist of Fury, 20% more. So that is a major DPS buff, and I saw it on my Windwalker when I was doing that. And have you guys noticed that at all, Air? Notice your numbers going up?
Yeah, new personal bests on farm content, which is always nice to see for not really changing anything.
Right.
And yeah, it's big numbers are fun. It's nice going from like me, some fights maybe number 2 or number 3 on a fight to number 1 again. So
Yeah.
it's where
nice
it's where
to be a little more
Windwalkers belong.
competitive, Yeah.
Yeah.
Several more DPS in our raid. Hooray!
Yeah, I haven't.
me.
I definitely haven't. I didn't get back up to number 1 spot in my team, but I definitely was vying for it, which was good. But I usually play Mistweaver, so my Windwalker set's not quite as good.
But
so.
You can
it
fist
affected,
read your way back
yeah,
to
it
rank.
affected Miss.
Yeah.
It did affect Mistweavers a lot too. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
nice.
did like 50k DPS on Gorfine last time, so I think I'm pretty.
It didn't affect Brewmasters too much, unfortunately, but it did let Brewmasters solo Korog from Heimo. Brewmasters can now actually solo him pretty effectively because of
nice.
the Blackout Kick buff. They just go with Serenity and one phase him the entire time. They don't let him push into the second phase. Like normally you'd go Chi Explosion to push
Yeah.
DPS wise, but they just go with Serenity and just destroy him through that, and it works apparently really, really well. I think
Nice.
Wananoob managed to kill him recently, so
Very
I
cool.
just after the buff, so
Noob.
good on him.
Yeah,
It would be him.
I did notice on Gorfine that during Face of Souls I was fist weaving the entire time, and I beat out both of our healers. I was like number 1 by a long shot, and I was like, I wasn't even healing. It's great.
Fair and balanced.
One nice thing about 6.2.2, if you have a monk that's just hitting 100 now, we were talking about this earlier, time walking. This is a fantastic way to gear up. Not only does it drop 660 gear, like a normal dungeon does, it has a chance to, Time Forge up to 675.
It's Warforged, basically.
Yeah. But also the first dungeon you will get a token for 500 badges, and you can go into Dalaran, and there's like 3 or 4 pieces of gear, including a trinket that is
Like
675.
25 or 50.
And it's only
they're like
25
25 or
badges.
50. So basically, you get your monthly, your time
Yeah.
walkery daily quest thingy,
Yeah.
and then you're like
Yeah,
set for
I
a
jumped
while.
up 40 item levels on that paladin just immediately.
There,
so-
there is a spot of bad news to this, though, Chai.
What's that?
By the time you're hearing the sound of my voice and you're not in the live stream, you probably missed it.
Well, if you catch the
Sorry.
show on Monday, you're fine. But yeah, you have until Tuesday to do that. But keep an eye out for it. I don't know for sure whether they're going to do the same type of situation for the Burning Crusade ones or not. And
I think it should be. I think that was like for both time walking ones, is from what I understood. That was because there was a big stint made about the mounts and how long it would take to get them.
someone's already got it.
8 months or something
yeah, 'cause
like
you
that.
can-
If you did it just enough to get the bonus every week, they did time walking. It would take you 8 months, I think, to get all the mounts.
Or
Yeah.
you can
So
no
that's
life it.
3
That's
hours.
if you just
Yeah.
do
3 hours
one
a day.
dungeon every.
You have to actually properly grind at least 3 hours a day when they're up to get the to get it in decent time. Which
Yeah, so if you really like those 5 dungeons of that particular time period, and you have a really good botting program, I'm not saying you should bot, then it's all yours, man.
was it
Go for
Can we
it.
get a
Keldric
disclaimer that the blue does
DK.
not
Yeah. LeBlue does not.
does
bot.
not allow botting?
Or support botting.
It is
Mostly in D3. I will find you D3 botters and I will hunt you down.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so it's that's a good way to gear up. So get out there and do that. Anything else in 6.2.2 that affected monks that I missed here?
Let's see.
Do we talk about cloud so we can go fly to our mailboxes? Okay.
Now remember, people,
our garrison.
if you forgot about the cloud, it does go slower on the ground, but it is faster than walking.
And it's best for
So-
fishing. Oh my, there's the best fishing.
Fishing.
right
Yeah.
here.
It's fantastic for fishing.
I actually
And
consider
when you're
like, I should go fishing today. Yeah.
And now that you can Zen flight everywhere, when you are zoning in to Hellfire, you have to zone in at the bottom of the portal because the top of the portal isn't
It's an instant.
collisioned for the instance.
That's funny.
I guess they forgot that part when they added flying.
All right. Well, it's time to keep your spirits up now while the world changes around you in.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Uplift. Don't worry, I'm sure it happens to other monks too.
All right, Dragon Con is going on this weekend, and they had a panel with one of the devs, and one major thing that came out was they asked about changes to secondary and tertiary stats. They said there are revamps going to be coming to them. They did confirm, though, that multi-strike is gone in Legion. So this answer was pretty vague outside of multi-strike being removed, but this is going to open up our discussion topic for later because Mistweaver and Windwalker, our main stat, the one that we get bonuses on, is multi-strike. So we're going to have a major revamp coming. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Hooray! Stat that I don't care about's gone. Hooray! Crit version
Yeah.
2 is gone, everyone.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Crit's still here, so like the big daddy's still allowed. It's just like they fought each other out, but I don't understand why versatility still exists in the game files.
versatility. I imagine versatility.
Well,
is
No
gonna be
one
an
says
They need
that it will. That's the one thing that they said was multi-strike is gone. They haven't said that versatility is still there. They haven't said that crit is still there. They haven't said
No.
anything.
There are
else.
still
No,
changes to
Christmas-
secondary and tertiaries
Christmas-
being made.
Right.
It was,
Like a bed sheet with versatility just written all over it, and that's how he gets himself to sleep at night.
listen, there was this. There's this statement has a vague part and a very straightforward part. The straightforward part is multi-strike is gone. The rest of it is changes to others. So for all we know, agility is going to be like worth 0.0001 attack power, and crit's going to suddenly like give you guards every time you crit. We don't.
Good.
freaking-
I would love that. Like, that would be like-
Princess of Crit making a return.
versatility is very useful for PvP.
Yeah.
So they're going to probably keep it for that. It's a very easy stat to essentially tune, I imagine.
Yeah.
So there, I mean, it's kind of boring, but it's a good bait. It's good, but boring.
Right.
I think once you have tank legendary ring that gives you 50% versatility on demand, then you just
Fully
don't
balanced.
care about any other
It's pretty-
versatility.
Safe.
It's just kind of done.
That has tempted me to really go ham on trying to get my legendary ring, but my principles still stay for the moment.
It's
So
just a
we're-
DPS cooldown.
We saw
is.
in Siege of Orgrimmar that they did the cleave, they did multi-strike, and it was a readiness.
Cooldown reduction.
Yeah, a cooldown
Amp.
reduction.
Amp Rising.
So all of them made it into the Warlords beta, but then only multi-strike survived. Was there anything in this tier, or were there any trinkets, class trinkets, anything like that that looked like they were interesting for additional stats?
Kind of think of like additional stats. I don't know.
Just Amp Rise. Amp's coming back. Calling it now. We're going to get Amp. They figured it out. They did the math and like, all right, guys. We
All the
got
trinkets this tier were like really weird effects as opposed to
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like
Stats.
additional set bonuses more than stats this time.
Don't forget about Leech too. Leech made it out of there as well.
Oh yeah, Leech is cool. I forgot about
I like
Was there a
Leech.
Leech
And we
trinket
got-
in Siege?
No,
There
no, but
was
it made it
the
out of
Iron,
beta.
yeah, there was.
Yeah.
There was the Iron Juggernaut tanking trinket that nobody used
The
except
Oh,
numbers
yeah,
is so
yeah, yeah.
awful.
Okay.
Actually, people use that for soloing like very early
Yes,
on.
just like the two swords from Deathwing, Mion used to use those as solo as well, if you
it was
remember
really
correctly.
good soloing, but it
The
was
Soul
terrible.
Drinkers.
So it was like 12 point something K dodge or something like that, and
Right.
then just a small amount of leech. But it was a pretty bad trinket overall.
I mean, look, they made Tyrant's Decree.
Tyrant's Decree, I actually found one use for this.
A
tier,
single
where
use, or you know what you could do? You could not
whatever
suck at the
it's called,
game.
I didn't have any usage
You
for
could
that.
not suck. There you go, Miss May.
All right, so check out that Dragon Con interview. There was a lot of good information. So go to wowhead.com. I know they have a good write-up on it. They did a lot of live tweets out of there, and it may be on a feed somewhere where you can check it out. So the information had a lot of stuff about professions, lore, things like that. So it's not a ton of new information, but some pretty interesting tidbits. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. All right, now it's time to impart some tips and tricks for those raiding monks in
Fists of Fury. It's go time.
All right, today we're going to go over 3 bosses in Next Wing. So we're getting past Gorfine, going up to the Upper Citadel, going to reach the big-ass bird Iskar. So let's talk some general tips here. Of course, as we've been saying in every single boss up to now, abuse your Transcendence. Transcendence. Extremely useful here for Chakram, as well as if you have a slow artifact passer in your group who refuses to download an add-on, then make sure you set your Transcendence if you're getting kicked back, and then when you're about to pop off the edge, pop right back, and it gives you an extra couple seconds. So use that. Tiger's Lust also, if, again, slow passers, you can use that on your slower teammates, and it's a great way to help them out, get them a little bit quicker. All right, let's go to Mistweavers on this fight. Monkio, got it? What you got?
Yeah, for me, I just crane the whole fight, like literally the whole fight. Unless a healer dies or people are getting really, really low, I'm in crane for the vast majority of the fight. When he spawns the ads, Rushing Jade Wind's really good. You could take Zwen if you want to do a different strat where you kind of like, the way we do it is like we just burn the resonance and then the ring goes off and kills everything else. But if you are AoEing down the ads, Rushing Jade Wind's great because you get a lot of little orbs to spawn. When he does the focus blast, people get healed by the orbs. It's all good. Chi-Burst is good for that too. Lines up with
Chi-Burst is great
both
for
of
that.
them.
Yeah. What do you think about using the class trinket here?
I don't think it's a good use for it, just because you don't use it for except for when he does the focus blast. But again, there's nothing else to heal outside of focus blast. Really, you know, it's. But I feel like the class trinket is a waste because you're not using it 90% of the time.
That's
You'd
true.
be better off with stats from another trinket, like a phylactery or even the leech trinket, which I don't think is particularly good in that fight either.
Yeah, Intuition's a gift, pretty good there.
Oh yeah. So I would run like intuitions and phylactery on that fight because it's the most intellect and it's probably best for your fist weaving setup. I
Okay,
think there's a better combo out there somewhere, but
perfect. And if you get that 4-piece, just go ham, have fun. All right, let's go on to Windwalker. Air, what you got?
Lots of ads.
Yeah.
Handle it. Yeah, you're gonna be abusing Storm, Earth, and Fire here. You know, depending on how you want to do it, you can either, depending on your raid leader, and if he's really on you about sticking to the right target, put yourself on a primary target, or put yourself on one of the guys you know is going to die last, and put your Storm, Earth, and Fires on the ones that'll die first.
Yeah.
That way it just makes it so you get less target switching overall. It's a good fight for Russian Jade Wind if you're doing the whole AoE fest. If you have a lot of rogues, a lot of warriors, a lot of shamans, a lot of AoE guys, a lot of hunters, maybe you can go Serenity and just burn down the primary targets during that really short burn phase. So otherwise, Chi Explosion is also helpful, but I usually run Chi Explosion, Russian Jade Wind because it makes for very, very, very big numbers. And all that extra cleave from the Storm, Earth, and Fire clones does bump up your single target to be an applicable level with the Serenity, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If you can get your Blade Master trinket to proc there, good night.
No, Blade Master is on use, so you can, depending on, this is all based on.
I was thinking the other one, the one that pops your little clones there. Censure?
you're thinking Soul Capacitor.
Soul
I think you're thinking
Capacitor,
of,
yep.
but the clones
Soul-
is the Blade Master.
Yeah.
Mizame,
Yeah.
which scumbag trinket is it? You know what it is.
Slide Master.
Yeah, Blade Master is really nice. You can use it on the pole if you have that 60 seconds between the first set of ads. Otherwise, just make sure you're saving it for the ads, and it'll, depending on how quickly you're actually DPSing the boss, it'll be there, and that's a lot of damage. Just make sure you use it after the tanks have pulled the ads to their final spot, and don't get caught out at the spawn and then have them be dragged away. Other than that, save your Tiger's Eye Brew for the burn phases, for the ads, and Chi Burst everything. And at first big blast, Touch of Karma. Put some of that big damage back on the smaller guys. We're good.
All right. LeBlue, what do we got for tanking this one?
Not a huge amount, really, for tanks. Honestly, at least I didn't notice anything big. Xuan's the talent choice for me, and just I use this for the transition phases that I can, since that's the hard part of the fight, and it's also what you're going to really probably fixate your cooldowns and stuff around you for use. And I guess Touch of Death high priority adds when you're in those phases. But Mizame, is there anything really crazy to add? I didn't notice anything too much for this fight for tanks.
Honestly, there's not too much you can do on the fight. You can diffuse magic the Raven in the final transition phase. That's probably the only like really tanky thing you can do that's kind of makes a difference, I guess. It helps out if for any reason someone's slow at throwing the orb to you. Apart from that, there's nothing really threatening to a tank, so that's why you can kind of go Scumbag Trinkets, etc. And Mirror the Blade Master that was mentioned earlier is a really good choice for that. But don't go Soul Capacitor and Mirror the Blade Master because it's never a good combo. Nice. The Mirror ads don't affect like your Soul Capacitor, so you end up like dealing reduced bits through there. But it's aside from that, really, no. It's very similar to Windwalker. Just stack everything up, AoE, and hope for the best. That's kind of how you do that fight.
All right. Okay, well, let's go on to Feldord Zakuun. So this one will depend on your strategy a lot. If you're part of the Swirl Soak team, I would go Diffuse Magic on this instead of Dampen Harm, but I think otherwise Dampen Harm is kind of the way to go. Use your Transcendence to bounce around, as usual. Again, abuse Transcendence. Learn this, love this ability. If you're not using this, you're doing it wrong. All right, Air, what do we got for Windwalking on this?
Serenity and Zuin, because single target, and go hard, go ham. This is your target. You're not doing a ton of movement unless you get like Siege or something like that. So do your best.
Okay.
Ganbate.
All right, and Brewmasters, what do we got?
The only really threatening parts of this fight are the disarms and the enrage. It's just make sure you have your guard charges up and ready to go, or about to be up and ready to go. Dampen Harm was my choice. Reduce a couple melee swings. That's helpful, particularly when your co-tank is a little slow to stack on you. Potion is a great defensive cooldown in the final phase, particularly if you save Xuan for it, so you get the damage from it as well. If you're really bad at jumping and or dodging and or Tuhu or anything else in the alternate phase, then Meditation. Yes.
Tuhu. I don't know where you're working that one from.
You're going to get slapped.
I know. I hope Magdalena hears me. And then, like Chai said already as well, Transcendence right back to the boss after you get phased back out. And you can be there in an instant. Anything, Mizame?
If you dampen harm on the pull, if you're taking the boss, it's up for the as soon as you go into the actual first disarmed phase. As well as that, you should use Ring on the pull as a tank, and then you should save the second ring until the enrage phase, because it's normally going to come around just as that comes up. And if you've done this fight on Mythic, then as a tank, you're going to be out of range of the boss for the majority of the fight. So you want to make sure kind of that you use your ring when you're back in range. The enrage phase is the perfect time for it. As well as that, the enrage phase doesn't actually hurt as much as disarmed, if that makes sense. When he drops below 30%, he doesn't actually do as much damage as he does during the standard disarm phase. I don't know why. I've looked into it. It's the exact same as normally. No, he throws the like his weapon away or whatever, but he just doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as melee swings. My co-tank and I looked into it. It's weird, but just take it as a blessing, really, and just kind of the first disarm phase is the one you really want to be kind of guarding yourself for. The other one, it's a bit less scary, really. But that's about it.
All right, Monkey, what do we got for Mistweave in this one?
It's just very standard. At the beginning of the fight, like maybe for the first, I don't know what it is, 10 seconds before the first Befoul comes out, I Fistweave just to get a little bit of stacks going. But from then on out, really, I'm just healing for the most part. Try to get those Befouled off as quickly as you can, but make sure that the people with them are out of the raid before you do, because you can bomb it. Like I pop Intuition's Gift and just start bombing them with heals, and sometimes they don't get out fast enough, but that's kind of on them. save up charges for doing this for the Befouled. It's mostly about Befouled for healer, and then when he's in his disarm phase, just be with the ranged and spam Rushing Jade Wind, blow all your mana. It's pretty straightforward fight for healers.
Yeah, do you use your life cocoons usually during those disarm periods?
Yeah, whenever a tank calls for it. I mean, we have our tanks just call for cooldown, so I mean that's definitely the time to use it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, let's move on to Zul'Farrak, or however the heck you pronounce that. I like to throw a little phlegm in there. All right, again, Transcendence. Transcendence. Use that to pop in, bounce between the purple and green sides, get back into the fight. All right, Brewmasters, what do we got here?
This was the first fight that I actually found difficult to tank in Mythic this tier. Diffuse Magic, definitely. And in normal and heroic, it's kind of a one-tank fight until the third phase, which is very odd. In that, like, you actually don't need 2 tanks until the third phase, but in Mythic it kind of starts goes ham straight from the outset. But Diffuse Magics are definitely you need. You need to make sure that you pretty much guard for every Fell Strike or Void Strike, whichever one it is. If you're tanking the green guy, I can't remember his name, Vanguard Akelian. If you're tanking him on Mythic as a Brewmaster, don't. Just say that you're lagging and get your other tank to do it, because I hate that guy.
That's good advice. I like that.
Honestly, like, I don't know why. He's just terrible for a Brewmaster to tank. As well as that, the Kilrock Trinket's really good. Warlords and Seeing Eye, it's really, really useful in this particular fight, and one of the ones I tend to keep using. If you can spare for it, then you want to also take Mirror the Blade Master, because it just does stupid damage to the imps. And as well as that, obviously, with the way that fight works, the boss and his ad share health pools, so the damage is split between them there. Really useful. So Mirror the Blade Master just kind of doubles up every time there. As well as that, Leg Sweep, really useful for interrupting imp casts. If you have 2 monks in your group, you can just rotate them every time. But and Chi Burst as well, pretty much. Also, if you're not too worried, the boss doesn't melee too hard, you can go Chi Explosion and just kind of enjoy your life on that fight. Just cleave off on all the ads and watch you do like 100k for the majority of the fight.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, Mistweavers, what we got?
Man, I was just looking at something. Last time I did this boss, I just tried to go for a high DPS parse. But if you're progressing on the boss and you really actually want to succeed and kill the boss, what? For the vast majority of the fight, you could probably crane it. There's very little damage if you do the fight correctly. There's very little rate damage. It's very, very important little
caveat there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, caveat that, thank you. But if you do the fight correctly, you can crane it. Otherwise, yes, you're going to have to heal people who are not so intelligent. There's a word for those people, but I'm probably not going to say it. And then during the last phase, you should have plenty of Manatee stacks for, just spamming Rushing Jade Wind and spamming your uplifts and surging people who are low. Whatever you need to do, just blast it in that last phase.
I think rings have led to a lot of guilds kind of the last phase just not mattering at all. I know, like, my old guild 2-healed that fight because they couldn't actually handle the last phase. They couldn't handle the mechanics in it, so they just tried to get out the way as quickly as possible. And they ended up 2-healing it or something like that. It's just, people like rings let you do stupid things, I guess, recently.
Yeah, and if you have, like, people assigned to do specific things, you can, you have a pretty good toolkit for handling that. Extending life is really, really strong, that you have full control over your max healing, so that's really nice. And if you're not doing it on Mythic, if you're doing Heroic or normal, Diffuse Magic's really good. Do not try to soak a black hole on Mythic with Diffuse Magic. It will not save you. You will die. If that's your intention, fine, but don't use the cooldown. Save it for something else.
On Heroic, I'm like, you can help with that with Diffuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely be a Windwalker in this fight. Be Crane Stance. Be in there because you can help with interrupts. And interrupts is one of the biggest things that can help you if you're having problems with this fight. Your AoE stuns. Make sure you're tossing off your glyph of the or not glyph, the statue. Help me here. Charging Oxwave. There we go. Toss that off. Get the stuns in and help out your team. All right, Windwalkers. What do we got?
Chi Explode all the things.
Yes.
You got, for the significant portion of the fight, you got the boss and a big ad, so that's a lot of damage you get on there. Plus the small little imp green guys, especially if you have a DK, can just be gripped on top of that, put a clone on one of them, and have fun. It's good. You want to be interrupting as much as you possibly can for the imps. You might even want to consider taking off your floating butterfly glyph to add an extra stun to your Fist of Fury.
That is a good tip right there.
If you have an issue with the green fire on the purple side, it does help. Out of the 3 talents we got, Leg Sweep, Ring of Peace, and Charging Oxwave. Oxwave does a stun. It's not a direct interrupt, but it is on a shorter cooldown, so that is quite nice to do. And then, if there happens to be something far away, you can just quickly shoot it out there. Feel free to use paralysis. If you're a panda, you got Quaking Palm, because only pandas are ever monks, so that works for 2. Let's see. Russian Jade Wind can also be kind of fun. If you got everything grouped up nicely, just burn stuff down. And let's see. There's talk about monks are really mobile and everything, but I hear rogues do really well at fire clearing. So let rogues be rogues and don't worry about soaking. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, let the rogues be the rogues. But if you don't have a rogue in your group, which I commend you, we make a good alternative. So,
Maybe.
all right.
What about how would Chi Torpedo work on this fight? I've never played with that.
Chi Torpedo is extremely powerful. I was gonna bring that up. Like for Mistweaver, like that is the damage. Like that is definitely when I went for that DPS farce. Like that was my top damage by a good bit. Like it's so much damage on those ads. You pick up celerity with it, and whenever the imps come out, get a Rising Sun kick, make sure you have Blackout kick up, and just cheap torpedo with them, and it does so much damage. It's unbelievable. It's like definitely your highest burst talent. I think for Mistweaver, you can't really use like Rushing Jade Wind because it's a lot of mana.
Right.
Windwalker can get away with that because they can just spam it whenever. But
Chi Torpedo heals, right?
Yeah.
Thus, you're doing damage and healing. Thus, you don't need to do as much damage because it's your niche.
Say so.
Something like that. Yes.
I don't know how you're working that one out, but
We'll go with that.
slide.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, Chi Explosion has that 30-yard range or whatever, which is very useful for helping out range on Void Fiends. Same with Storm, Earth, and Fire, as we were able to put to use in a recent event too.
Yes, which we will talk about shortly. Now, students, it's time to meditate and expand our knowledge in
Transcendence.
So it seems like every show we stumble across a little tidbit that brings us a little bit closer to fuller understanding of the monk class until Legion drops. So here's some things we learned this week. At least I learned, and I feel like a complete idiot here. I should have known this, and it was something I wasn't sure of. And it's like I suspected, but I never actually researched it. Chi Explosion. Monkey-O?
Am I reading this right?
Sorry, no, I'm reading. Someone's editing the notes. I know who it is, but it made me laugh. I apologize.
Okay. So I didn't realize Chi Explosion was a stacking debuff. So like Blackout Kick does. So if you spam like a 4 Chi Explosion, get the combo breaker, get another 4 and blast it on within 2 seconds, it stacks all that damage and it'll do it together. I wasn't sure about it, and I had a suspicion it might be like a rolling thing or like a drop off. So or overwrite rather. So if you did 4 Chi Explosion and then 2 seconds later did another one, it would overwrite the first one. So when I got that, all of a sudden I started parsing a little bit better because I didn't care. I'm like, oh, I'll just keep throwing Chi at crap. And so that's, in case you didn't know, I learned that. So there you go. All right. So
Thank you for sharing and being brave and sharing
Yes.
that with us.
I figure if I didn't
that took a
know,
lot
and
of
I
courage.
researched the class a lot, if I didn't know that for sure, someone out there, probably not. I'm probably the only idiot out there. But just in case.
I can guarantee you're not. I'm not saying I might have thought the same thing until this expansion, but maybe I did.
Okay.
I learned something this time from a well-known monk within the community named Calligraphy, and her wise words of wisdom to me this Sunday were bench the paladin, reroll warrior. May or may not have to do with World of Warcraft. Monkey may or may not have been a witness.
It does not. Confirmed does not have to do with World of Warcraft.
Oh, boy. All right. Anyone else learn anything this week?
Yeah, share your jack, please.
Light.
Oh,
I can't
Zen Flight.
believe I
Yeah,
forgot about Zen. How? Like,
it's been gone so long that.
Blowing my mind that I
Yeah.
forgot about it.
All right. Well, let's move on to our main discussion topic. I want to talk a little bit more about the Gone multi-strike and what this is going to do to us. Now, we've been hearing a lot of rumors going back and forth, so we don't really want to talk too much about it because it's all subject to change. But I do want to talk about Class Fantasy a little bit. They're focusing in very heavily in Legion on Class Fantasy on each spec. So this has a potential for a lot of changes to come to our class. And we already know multi-strike's gone, so we're going to have a new stat. And so I'm thinking for Windwalker, it's going to be probably Haste is going to be my best guess for that, or it could just be Mastery when they do the revamp of it. As we're pretty darn sure all the signs are pointing to a brand new Mastery for Windwalkers, at least, and probably Mistweavers and most likely Brewmasters as well, but we don't know anything for sure. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, all of them need new masteries for
Yes.
sure. I mean,
Yeah, we
It's
got
so
3
unbelievable
last expansion. We've
how
had one
bad
this
it can be.
expansion. We got to get at least one more next expansion,
Right.
right? I mean, that's just keeping within averages. So.
Yeah.
We all need new masteries for different reasons, though. You two need masteries because your masteries are terrible. We need masteries because our mastery breaks the game, and
Right.
Blizzard can't figure out how to like balance around it. Unfortunately,
Listen, it only breaks the game when they forget it's there. Like, if they had remembered it was there for Blackrock Foundry, we probably wouldn't have been the gods we were. But because they completely forgot it when designing, let's design this entire raid to have large physical hits. That'll be totally
it's also
fine.
because they
right,
buffed
guys?
us by an unnecessary like 10%
Oh, yeah.
or 20%, whatever they did at the beginning.
You mean
of
the thing
expansion.
that most of us who knew anything about the class were
Yeah.
like, why did we get this? What do we need this for? And they're
Well,
like,
surprisingly enough, a tank class is squishy when you're in 620 gear taking DPS talents. Oh, we better buff them before the 2 major raids come out. What's that? Paragon's now using 2 Brewmasters because you don't need to do anything on Blackhand now. The rest of the raid hasn't even zoned in. It's just the 2 Brewmasters in there. They've got them at 2%. Like, I hate,
Tell us how you really
I hate Blizzard.
We already had our
I'm
Brewmaster Salt last episode. You missed your chance.
No.
I'm doing a challenge mode on my Brewmaster, and I took the explosion, and I keep getting trucked, and I don't know why. So if you could
guy
buff the
was in
class
the
so it works
That
better,
was,
thanks.
that was it. Oh, God, I remember him.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus. Okay. All right. So Windwalker Mastery. We have
wait for this
had.
all.
Let's go. Let's talk Windwalker air here. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got this.
So we've had different masteries like crazy. We've had Combo Breaker. We've had the TOT one that had Rut Row. That one I want to see come back, or at least some iteration of that, as long as they don't pull another Rut Row out of the hat. But that one was nice because it was dependable damage. You knew you had burst. What I would like to see is something similar to that, but more controlled. Like you use 5 stacks of brew and you can stack to 30. Like you get controlled burst, because our burst was insane in TOT because of the amount of damage you can put out. Bottled Fury is way too RNG for what I think our current mastery, because with Serenity, if you don't get the right mastery procs and you get your Tiger Eye Brew at the beginning, you can't parse. Like it's your damage goes so down. So taking RNG out of it, giving us a much more dependable burst type damage. That's what I would like to see. Do you have any thoughts on what you would like to see for mastery here?
I liked the TOT mastery because it made mastery useful. You have more mastery, you do more burst damage. That's cool. Why not? Here's my crazy idea. Have it stacked to 20, but you can use it at 20. You can't go over 20, but you can use it at 20 stacks.
So
Or
you
that
build
can-
all the way up to 20 and then you pop 20?
yeah,
PvP is why.
Yeah, PvP
and
is
then,
why.
and then
That's true.
Iskar leaves the platform, so you can't do anything, and all the ads are dead. Good, like your 20 stack of Tiger Eye Brew. Or the boss moves him out of your Fist of Fury anyway when you're like there.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but we're communicating. You're a brewmaster, I'm a windwalker. We'll help each other out. You know?
What's that? You pop your 20 stack Tiger Eye Brew. Oh crap, my Transcendence that I was oddly placed at the beginning of the start of the fight area, I need to use that now and drag the boss to their side of the room.
I agree. While it would be awesome to see the numbers,
Yeah.
the RNG would frustrate me like crazy because it.
No,
it happens.
I did
Actually,
like the,
no,
the
that's
TNT,
a-
though.
That's a lie. With HFC, it'd be more of a case of you've popped your 20 stack Tiger Eye brew. Oh, hang on, we now have to wait for 1 minute and entirely stop our DPS because DPS checks in HFC are the worst thing in this
please.
entire game so far.
just so terrible.
Having
the
to
way things
reprogress
line
on
up.
every fight every week, especially like Tyrant or Manaroth, it's like, oh, we can't push
yeah.
a second too early here, guys. So, Windwalkers,
Yeah.
right-click your Tiger Eye brew off now. We're done.
No.
Just
Yeah.
leave the raid.
Yeah,
That's a whole conversation on its own right there. The way
Yeah.
they design these bosses having
That's why I would really like
mechanics
to
that are based
see.
on time and boss health. And,
Yeah, I would like to see Tiger Eye Brew be a little bit more controlled, be down to like 5 to 7 stacks, not quite as heavy burst, but more control over when you can use it. So if you do pop it and something goes bad, you're not destroying your numbers. You have a chance to come back and catch back up later.
Then we're treating it like Inquisition. You know, we just needed to have it up all the time.
Right.
Just have it like Brewmaster. Have it like Elusive Brew, where it's like a set damage increase, but the more stacks you use, the longer it lasts for, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
No,
I
I
don't
mean
play.
that's a decent idea, but
So
I
that's
love
assuming
that. I
they
love
keep
that.
the whole Tiger Eye Brew mechanic altogether.
Yeah.
With the new mastery, we
I'd
get
hope so.
something completely different.
Yeah.
What I don't want the RNG that we have now. I want something that is much more dependable. When we look at a mastery stat, we can say, okay, this can equal this amount of crit, this can equal this amount of haste, so that way we can gear together and give us more flexible play style to change kind of gear as we see fit. Having it be more kind of AoE stats, something like that, that'd be kind of cool too. So, Mistweavers, please God, get rid of our friggin' spheres. That's what I want to
Have
see.
you ever had a good mastery for Mistweaver? I'm not like entirely sure.
So I want just take extend life. Give us like when we do a targeted heal, like renewing mist, surging mist, something like that. Have it do based on your mastery, like plug in more heals, something like that. Do kind of an extend life type thing.
I didn't really like. I don't think like extend life is a great tier bonus. I don't think I'd want it as a class ability because it changes the way, like, assuming Mistweaver is being played the same way it is now, like uplift is your main heal, right? You want to be uplifting as much as possible, and that kind of takes away from that. Like you're targeting your uplifts very specifically. You're saying, okay, I don't want to uplift too much because I won't have the chi to use it with the extend lives that I need later on. Like it just feels, it changes the class too much. I'd rather have something that's enhances what you already do, the basic fundamental playstyle, rather than changing it into something else.
Well, it kind of would, because the thing I like about extend life is the fact that your first target of your renewing mist, you're putting more oomph into that, right? You're saying I'm not just throwing this out at random, because before extend life, I didn't care who I threw that on. I would just throw it around, and it would just bounce to whoever needed it smartly. With extend life, though, I am saying, all right, this person needs heals. I'm putting it here, because then when I extend life, it's going to, or then when I uplift, it's going to heal them more. And so something like that, where the first hit on that target is going to heal them more. I think the interaction with renewing mist is kind of the more power of the extend life, and that's something that I really like this tier. Once I got 4-piece, I felt a lot more in control of what I was doing.
Oh, I'm not doubting. I'm not, saying that there's no control over it or that it's not a great bonus or design. It's just that it makes it so that you spend less time worrying about uplifting a lot and just doing a lot of healing. And maybe it's just the way I play it, but the way I play it is, you just want to use your extend lives to try and bomb people. Just, you get as many bombs in as possible, but not necessarily get in as many uplift healings as possible. So I used to try and make the raid's health go up all at once. You spam a bunch of renewing mist before big damage comes out, and then you just uplift a whole bunch, and the whole raid's health kind of goes.
Right.
Now I'm healing this one person or these 2 or 3 people max, trying to bomb the extend lives on them. And I think that's a very different play style compared to just BlackRock Foundry play style.
So
I think it's too big of a change.
One thing for sure I know is that we want to get away from mastery having any interaction with the healing spheres.
Yeah, well, just dependable. Like something you said before,
Right.
Windwalker was, I don't want it to be RNG, and it's not only is it RNG right now, it's not even intuitive. Like the hidden coefficients on all the spells,
Yeah.
when it says in the character sheet, even if you had 100% mastery on your character sheet, it would read your healing spells, something, have a 100% chance to spawn a healing orb. That's just not true.
Right.
Like
Some of
your
them would
half your
spawn
spells
5
have
of them, and some of them wouldn't spawn anything.
Yeah, well, some of them have like a 15% at that point, 20%, 30%. I think the max is like 50. No, the max is 100, but I think that's on Surging, is it? I think one of them has a 1.0 coefficient. But anyway, it's just confusing and it doesn't make sense. And hopefully they give you something. I would hope for something more straightforward. Is always providing you a bonus like the Paladin Mastery, the Discipline Mastery, the Shaman Mastery, the Druid Mastery. They're all great examples, and the Mystery one is just not reliable. It needs to be reliable, and
Yep. So I think that's definitely one thing we're going to focus on with when Legion coming out is we want to say get rid of RNG, get rid of it from the healing spheres, give us something that's a lot more direct heals onto things that are like at least a direct correlation between how much mastery we have and how much healing we do.
that exactly.
Yep. So Brewmaster Mastery right now a little overpowered.
Right now, it's underpowered at this moment in time, but it was overpowered. But the problem is, in the current iteration of it, you can't actually have it in this state where it's not overpowered or it's not underpowered. Because the problem with it is it's essentially like a constantly active... Imagine if Paladins were told, hey, by the way, we're taking Shield the Righteous off you, but we're just going to give it to you as a baseline buff. Like, that's kind of how it is. When they had it affecting boss abilities, that's kind of how what it was like. It was a case of, hey, you have your active mitigation. You have nearly 60% damage mitigation up constantly. And now they've kind of reduced it and they've stopped it affecting certain boss mechanics. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But now it's really underpowered for actual physical mitigation, which is why they've slapped the kind of guard band-aid onto it. Like, guard now is the be-all and end-all of Brewmaster. It's if you don't have guard up, you're dead pretty much for the most part. I mean, I actually went back into Blackhand. We were doing some sales runs. I went back into Blackhand and tried to do all the things I could do as a Brewmaster in 6.1. I was like, okay, I'll just Transcendence the first smash that comes out. Oh, hang on, no, they stopped Nimble Brew from working, and now I'm in lava. Oh, there's going to be 3 Impaling Throws going out in P2. I'll just soak them. Never mind, they all hit me for 900k, and now I'm dead because they stopped Stagger from affecting that. Oh, it's a Siege Engine. I'll tank that. No, I won't. It's hitting me for 400k because they stopped Stagger affecting that. And that's kind of where the problem with the Brewmaster Mastery comes about. It's just, you can't have it in its current iteration where it's either, you can't have it either, like, just standard. It either has to be overpowered or underpowered. The best way they could get around it would be to stop it from being affected by boss abilities like it is now. So certain boss abilities won't affect it. Reduce the actual amount itself. Get rid of Elusive Brew because Elusive Brew is garbage, and actually create a kind of new buff called like Shuffle. You could have Shuffle, which works similar to how Druids work. You know how Druids work? I think it's Savage Defense, or is it Survival tendencies? Whichever one of the two it is. You could have it so that when you use this particular ability for a short period of time, you gain like an increased amount of stagger, and also it works on boss abilities. So you then don't have the problem where it's always overpowered or it's always underpowered. You have a button you can push where, hey, now we're actually mitigating something. That's the only way I can think of it actually working in its current iteration. Either that or they just completely change Brewmasters.
And if they do that, though, I mean, they make Stagger a flat value, then what does that do for the purifying gameplay? Which right now is, I don't know how much you agree with this, is basically gutted.
I don't purify at all anymore. I don't purify.
Chi Explosion does it for me. It's very rare I need to, and
basically
that to me is actually really disappointing. How useless it really is.
I ran with Serenity when we were first doing Mythic Archimond. We were doing pulls on him, and I was sitting at like 129% stagger, and my health pool still wasn't moving because I had these 2 million guards on me because that's the band-aid they've had to put on for it. It's like
it just doesn't
work out in its current iteration.
I guess I remember when Warlords first dropped before we got our stupid buffs, how awesome it felt to actually care about my stagger, and it wasn't even like massive per the green, yellow, red, whatever. But it wasn't like these bosses were nailing you really hard. It's just it mattered, and now it doesn't matter, and I'm kind of disappointed about that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Purify gameplay ended up going away with a new stagger or something. Because
I'm sure you guys are
it's
going to get a new mastery that's going to kind of revamp how that whole mechanic even works. So I hold on to your butts, Brewmasters. It's going to be a bumpy ride, I think.
The one thing that could be good if they did it like that is, I mean, thinking about the Purify gameplays, you can have stagger being like a fixed value, but you could have the amount that you're staggered. So say like you get hit for 600, like you get hit for 100k. You stagger 60k of it, and then you have that 40k. Now, normally that 40k would tick over time, and you have to purify it. That's the kind of gameplay now. You could have it that your mastery automatically purifies a certain amount of that, if that makes sense.
Right.
So you would stack mastery defensively. It removes the purifying brew gameplay, but I mean, at the moment there is no purifying brew gameplay. Like I could unbind it and I could still survive in a fight.
They're going back to fantasy though, and the fantasy of it is drinking brews. So I don't think they're going to get rid of purifying.
But
yeah, that's the only problem.
Just the thing is, like, even you could even argue though in Blackrock Foundry when we had the ridiculous amount, how important stagger was, and outside of like, was it Cormorog? Not Cormorog. It's Chromog. Outside like Chromog, melee swings.
Korog, Chromog, and Komarok is the same expansion.
But outside like his melee swings and a few boss abilities and stuff, and I think I heard Black Hand hits really frolicking hard. Like you purified after a big hit, and that was like really a lot of times it.
Yeah.
And even then, because it was so ridiculous, it didn't matter. And it's because our stagger is drawn out over such a long period of time, you don't notice it too much. And it's like, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd love to see like the duration even halved. You'd notice it a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to move on to one question about Class Fantasy Revamp. I'm going to give you guys one answer for this. Biggest Class Fantasy wish list item. I want to see for Zhuan, I want that to be Chi-Ji for Mistweavers, Nizao for Brewmasters, Zhuan for Woodwalkers.
Okay, you can't steal everybody's.
I know mine.
That's why I go first. Host privileges.
Unbelievable.
All right. Anybody?
I got one.
All right,
I got one. So if you're using a staff or a pole arm, I want you to always have a keg of beer like Shin.
No, that was mine! Got it! Damn it!
You should have said something. Yep. I want to hold a keg of beer, and then when you actually keg smash, you actually hit him with it.
Hit him with that'd be cool. All right, Mizume?
No, that was mine. I have to think of another one. Come back to me in a bit.
We're a Windwalker, so why not be able to fight while using Zen Flight?
Okay. All right.
I like that. I'm gonna go with that.
Hey, if it's a wish list, whatever.
No.
All right, Monkey-O?
I want the things, the Celestials. They're such a big part of the lore behind, the monks, and then all you see is Swen. It's like, all right, see you later. I guess if I can't choose that one, I would say I love the statue. I love the visual of our statue, and so I would like that to be more impactful in our normal rotation. Okay. I'd like for maybe, I don't know if Windwalkers would like this, but I'd like for Windwalkers to have one and Brewmasters one to be a little bit more interesting.
God damn it. Why are you all taking...
So, I was talking to Mazer the other day about this actually, and he had an idea for a wind walking statue. So, we put our statue down, and we can basically use a Storm Earth and Fire clone on a boss. Put our statue down, our statue turns into a target dummy. We target the dummy out in range, don't have to worry about other mechanics, and then theoretically, we can DPS from the bench.
Do you not count towards the raid count, like the people actually there?
So, we stay outside the arena.
That's why they gave Demon Hunters double jump, so they can come from behind the bench, jump over the Windwalker monks who are floating on their Zen flights, and get into the raid.
All right, Mizume, you figured out one?
Charge back. That would be my class fantasy.
What was that? I talked over that. Try that again.
Bring charge back, and
Oh.
then that's my class.
I was gonna say,
but make
bring
actually
Clash
turn
back,
it
there you
into
go.
Nox, and there you go. That's all I
Charge
would
back.
need.
All right. Well,
Actually, you can have the statue do that. There you go. That's mine. Have
There
the
you-
statue bring charge back.
all right.
Sorry you had to settle.
Yeah.
All right. It's now
Double
time to
setup.
travel to the Peak of Serenity, the home for all monks. In.
Zen Pilgrimage.
Monks, assemble!
All right, if you got any questions in Dojo, go ahead and drop them in there. We'll get to them shortly here. So there was a blog that came out called Chi Explosion versus Serenity for Windwalkers. Now, we talked about this last show a little bit, but this is a really good rundown, and there will be a link in the show logs about it. Now that 6.2.2 has been released, it's again clear that Serenity is the leader for single target, whereas Chi Explosion pulls ahead for multi-target fights. So prior to 6.2.2, that was a little bit in contention. Had some Chi Explosion had some promise going, but if you want some theory crafting information about why that is, you can check out this blog, and it gives you some good math rundown on that. Now, one thing that they did note there is having haste on your Serenity gear isn't as bad anymore. Haste is bumped up quite significantly, so if you have that haste build for Chi Explosion in your Serenity build, you can look at it more closely for your best in slot. So you can see if you have a few item levels on that haste gear, you may want to throw that in for Serenity. Did you get a chance to look this one over, Air?
Yeah, I mean, Babylonius's blog post is really nice, and it explained things very clearly for people who had questions. And there's always a lot of talk on MMOC about it as well, but that one single blog post talked about the numbers behind it. And yeah, I felt bad having to relearn Serenity. I just like Chi exploding everything. That was pretty fun.
It's a lot easier, I'll tell you that.
Totally.
You don't have to worry about it as much. So, well, let's talk about the All Monk race. So, Air, thank you so much for joining us during that, because I know it was super late. What did we start at 2 a.m. your time?
Yep.
Wow.
And 4 hours after that,
6 a.m.
I think.
Yeah.
It worked out though. It was good.
Yeah. So
good fun.
Yeah,
I
Mizume led the Horde team. I led the Alliance team. If you guys didn't know about this, we ran Hellfire Citadel normal for 4 hours. Tried to get as far as we could. We all started about 15 minutes late. We started at the same time. It was pretty close up until the break. Like, you guys were just a little bit behind the whole time.
A certain ghost had us spooked.
Yes.
I think that was it.
Yeah, you guys were a little bit behind us on when Gorefiend, and then when the break came, you guys caught up, and then I think we engaged Zul'Harrak about the same time.
Well, they did take a 5-minute break while we took a
15-minute
break.
But still.
Right.
So, which bosses ended up being the biggest issues?
Well, Zul'Harrak was face roll. I don't think we had any issues with Zul'Harrak whatsoever. We definitely didn't wipe on Zul'Harrak for an hour.
I think
out of those
Dojo
4
disagrees with you. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Technically,
I think
once
there's a
we
lot
actually-
of PTSD going on in the Dojo.
When I mean, honestly, like, I don't. Every time I go into Zul'Harrak's room now, I wake up 10 minutes later in a pool on the floor, and the boss is dead. So mythic reclares are really fun. But I don't think we had many real issues until I think we had a wipe or two on Kilrog, and
Kilrog.
you guys pulled ahead then. We caught back up actually on Gorefiend because I think we only had one wipe on Gorefiend, whereas I know you guys had a couple. Iskar was pretty easily done.
Yeah, Iskar was easy.
Fell Lord we completely destroyed, but Zul'Harrak was just. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen what film is it, Armageddon, when you have the scene with the napalm coming over like this. Imagine that, but it's purple, and that's kind of what Zul'Harrak looked like for the majority of the time we were there.
Yeah.
It was a moment, but I mean, like I said, we had a lot of fun. I think we had a much larger group, and it unfortunately did mean not that we were carrying people, but there was a couple of bits where we had to say, look, I'm sorry, just for this one, could you just step out? And as soon as we said that, Zul'Harrak died in one shot. But I mean, we still had a lot of fun. I didn't really want to bench anyone because obviously everyone was having a good time. but we brought everyone back in immediately after that and went on to Soccer Far. But
You guys were running
Zorak
5
was
brewmasters.
fun. We did for the majority of it until I Windwalker, but I think I do about the same amount of damage Brewmaster as I do Windwalker.
Do we have a video of this with all the audio? Like, I may or may not want to hear the screams of agony.
If you want to watch it, there's I was relatively calm through the whole thing. Let's be real. So don't worry about that. I was relatively calm, just like a little bit, but it was. It wasn't too bad. We still enjoyed ourselves, and I think a lot of the other people. I was actually really surprised by like how many people turned up to it. I think we had about 18. We had 22 people sign up, and I know a couple of people couldn't make it. A couple of people like dropped in, left out like midway through. Like they came in for a couple of bosses, but we had nearly 20 people the whole time, which was definitely fun. I definitely enjoyed it. And I think everyone else enjoyed it on our side as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun on Alliance. We ended up getting all the way up to Archimond with about 10 minutes left, and pulled him with we got 69% of the first pull. So, yeah, Kilrog ended up being a little bit more challenged than I anticipated. Gorefiend also, we knew he was going to be rough, but he
A lot of Stormwrath and Fire.
A lot of Stormwrath and Fire.
But
on
to
that.
say, wouldn't you just like the whole raid throw Stormwrath and Fire and just keep hitting the boss?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
but if you're a melee and you're not used to having a guy chase you around, like you have to do some clever bits with Transcendence.
Wait. You say melee not being used to doing fight mechanics? What?
Good old melee privilege.
Yeah, Zul'Harrak was kind of like, I remember when we went in there, we were trying to set up and explain the fight, like what we wanted to do, and we're like, just abuse all your Stormwrath and Fire, touch of Karma, diffuse magic, just abuse everything you can. And we're sitting there like, this is gonna suck, like this is not gonna be good. And we one-shot it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was proud.
Yeah, I was
I definitely
happy.
want the horde side of those screams.
Yeah,
the pain,
I
agony.
did die right before phase 3, so I was actually worried, but I was able to actually just kick back and call out stuff, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's Manaroth was a joke.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
It's,
Tyrant was stupid easy.
Yeah, just died fast.
Yeah, died real fast.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of cleaving going on there.
yeah, Kilrog and Gorefiend were kind of the two major call-outs that I'd say was really, really rough. So we want to finish this off. We want to beat the Death Knights this time. So we're going to be doing it on the Alliance side, Archimond only. We're going to be starting that September 12th. So that's coming up this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern start time, so same time as before. I'll go ahead and get up the open raid here soon. Check out the Twitter at twitter.com/monkmeditation or monk_meditation. We'll get that all set up and going. Hopefully we can get a kill this week. So we did have a question in the dojo here. Tiger Crane asks, do you think viable means anything compared to competitive? Is she talking about for Windwalker?
Just because, well, Windwalker had the issue to where it was viable, quote unquote. But
Yes.
anyone who had any sort of like actual, we want to perform at our best, we want to set up for the best, regardless of where you stood, like progression wise, you didn't want one at all. And that's the whole viable versus competitive is 100% a community thing.
Yeah.
Like the community determines what viable and competitive mean, and sometimes
in
those get
High Mall, when
intertwined.
we started off, our damage, we were a little bit lower, but we had our niche fights, and we're so good in those niche fights that they brought us in, kept us geared, and stuff like that. Obviously, competitive does not mean viable. They're different. I usually trust Blizzard. They've had a little bit of a rough spot this expansion in terms of that. They're definitely helping out with these buffs in 6.2.2. I think we are now competitive. We're not number one, but you can't have everybody at number one, right? So it's I think we're in a good spot right now, but of course the world first race is over. We're just in the holding pattern until Legion, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But still, way too early to tell. We'll just have to see how the numbers fall in. It seems like the devs, I've been hearing a lot of feedback in the back end of the community now with theory crafters and stuff like that. They have the ears. So there's discussion, there's talk, there's numbers crunching. We're in a better spot.
What it really was Halinka had to play a monk in PvP. That's what got us our buffs.
This is true. This is absolutely true. So let's just
That is-
let's just hold on, wait to see what's going on. Use your constructive feedback, use your words, help out the monk community to show that we are the best community in the World of Warcraft and get us the buffs that we need. All right, I think it's time to put the brew away. So guys, please rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, Twitch.tv, YouTube, all those places. Had one of the best videos of all time. Okay, that's
actually a name.
That is an actual name.
Actually a name.
So that he gave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate it. And if you would like to help support the show and make it grow and get even better, you can become our boss by going to patreon.com/monkmeditation. You can help guide the future of the show and get some fun rewards along the way. All right, let's go into shout-outs. Air, you got anything, sir?
Well, I mean, shout out to the dojo for coming on, saying hello. Shout out to my Diablo buddies. You know, thank you very much, Spencer, Pudcud, Mazer, for Karn, for leveling me from fresh to 70 in 10 minutes.
Jeez.
It's great.
All right, and going to Monkey-O.
Not much. Not much to say here. Actually, I would say a shout out to Air for reminding me of Zenflight today.
Yeah.
For that, I'm so disappointed in myself right now. Honestly,
Aw. You'll be okay. You'll be
Yeah,
okay.
I'll get over it. I'll work.
You're gonna log on right now if you're not already logged on and
Right.
start Zen flighting everywhere.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to a friend of the show, Quillen. Helped us tank last week and got Iskar down. Also want to give a shout out to Mizume for the D3 carry from 65 to 70 in about 35 seconds.
It worked well.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm like, okay, well, now that I'm 70, I should probably take a look at my talents. Oh, look, I'm Paragon level 80 already. Okay, cool. All right, and LeBlue, got anything?
Shout out to all of our guests from the last show, even though I could not be there to moderate it, very sadly. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Mizume, for filling in my knowledge gap of Zul Harak, because I haven't pulled it before. And to all you who have said, hey, we're looking for a tank even if I can't make your hours, I appreciate the offers, and I really do wish I could.
Yep. All right, and going to Mizume. Got any shout outs there?
Not too many. Thanks for having me on again. It's been a while since the last one, so but
Yep.
yeah. Shout outs to Mirror the Blade Master from 4 versions of me that do more than me.
All right, awesome. As for the monk community, if you have a blog, website, or person you want to see out on the show, reach out to us at show@monkmeditation.com. The monk community is the best one in the World of Warcraft, and we want to showcase it. And Monkey-O, how can Dojo best reach us?
You can best reach us. You can follow the show at Monk Meditation on Twitter. You can also follow Chai T at @WildMonk. Follow Air at Airwalker. Follow myself at Monkey-O. Follow LeBlue at Kagari LeBlue. And our guest host, Misume, you can follow him at MisumeWWA.
All right, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. You can watch us live Monday, September 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, midnight UTC at twitch.tv/wildmonk. You can also visit monkmeditation.com for links to all the ways to watch and listen to the show. Now we'll wrap up this episode of Monk Meditation.
May your brews be strong and your heart stronger.
All right, night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Wave. Night.
Waving.
I rolled a 20.
Perfect.
The demon baby means it's over.